Coming up on AgweekTV, a North Dakota sugar beet cooperative takes the wheel as the first company in the country to use driverless trucks. What will the markets bring in the coming year? We'll have some expert predictions. South Dakota cattle producers gather to talk about improving their industry. An internationally known cattle handling expert and author, Grandin, makes a visit to Minnesota. Welcome to AgweekTV. I'm Emily Beal. Some North Dakota sugar beet growers are the first in the nation to use cutting-edge technology to haul their beets. Mindak Farmers Cooperative of Wahpeton is running driverless trucks. We take a look at how it works in this week's AgWeek cover story.
Mindak Farmers Cooperative is in the driver's seat of some cutting-edge technology.
We are, to our knowledge, the absolute first ones to have autonomous, articulated, full-size semis pulling full-size payload on public roads in the entire United States.
Dull steering fingers.
It's not an Amazon, it's not a UPS, a FedEx, it's little Mindak Farmers Cooperative in Wahpeton, North Dakota, and it's something we're very proud of.
Mindak's Vice President for Agriculture and Research, Mike Metzger, says it uses technology called a leader-follower system. It was developed by a Florida company called Kratos for the military. One CDL driver can command two semis behind it, hauling beets. For now, Mindak is manning the follower truck, but it's mostly hands-off.
A leader truck has full command of its follower behind it. I mean, it's really kind of that simple, like little ducks in a row.
We think of fall as beet hauling time. That's when beets are taken from fields to Mindak's 8 receiving stations. Metzger says the driverless trucks will haul the beets from those stations to the factory in Wahpeton for processing from August through May.
Our fleet actually annually puts on about 2.5 million miles a year, and we don't leave Wilkin or Richland counties.
Metzger says a shortage of CDL drivers made it tough to keep up with growth at the factory.
So we're not replacing jobs, we're better utilizing the jobs that we have already.
The trucks can be switched into manual if necessary in cases like bad weather or road conditions. So far, they're only running in North Dakota with a person riding in the truck. But Metzger says they're working on getting approval to run in Minnesota as well.
So, I mean, the technology's there. We're just utilizing it in a manner that is very efficient and makes a lot of sense for our cooperative.
You can read more in the next AgWeek magazine or at agweek.com. With 2023 quickly coming to a close, I met with marketing experts Randy Martinson and Chad Hart to discuss this past year and what farmers can expect to see in 2024. Randy, we'll start with you. What were some of the big takeaways you saw in the corn and soybean crop this year in 2023?
I think what was pretty impressive is that, just where our yields came in, where our production came this year. The way the year started off, it looked like it was going to be a tough production year for us up here, especially in the Northern Plains, even parts of the Corn Belt. But when the time we wrapped things up, we actually turned out to have a little bit better crop than we anticipated. And it's kind of created some logistics issues moving forward here, especially now as we go to the end of the year, just what we're doing with these bushels. And it's kind of put a little bit of a wet blanket on the market.
Chad, for you, what did you see in the wheat market this year?
I think the same issue. I mean, I think when you're thinking about 2023, we knew we were coming in with a drought in place. What was that going to do to us? And what we found was that the crops across the board were better than we expected at a time when, let's face it, we could have used a little bit smaller crop because demand has been weaker across the board as well.
Looking forward in 2024 in the wheat market, what are you expecting to see?
I'll give you USDA's numbers. As they're looking out there right now, they do expect to see fewer acres of wheat as we look across the landscape, likely coming out of red wheat for the most part. As we look at durum and white wheat, we're seeing a little bit tighter stocks there, hopefully holding those markets up a little better. But you're talking about a small reduction there. And the challenge of, again, trying to figure out where we're going to see demand growth as we're looking out there. Feed demand hasn't been growing much. Food demand is really stable, but it doesn't move all that often. And so typically we're looking for exports to try to help us out, and that's been a challenge.
Randy, what are you anticipating for soybean and corn coming in the next year?
That's a little bit, I think, kind of the same thing. We're waiting for demand to see where that's going to fall. I mean, we're looking at, exports below last year's pace. Corn right now has potential to see some export increase, especially if we see some issues in the safrinha corn crop in Brazil. But that's not going to come until after the first of the year, till January, maybe February timeframe. For soybeans right now, we do have to pay attention to what's going on with the rains or lack of rain in Brazil. That might might give us some marketing opportunities ahead of the new year for soybeans. But again, it's all going to be determined on what happens with the weather in South America.
You talked about Brazil. There's obviously a lot going on outside of the United States borders right now. How do the both of you anticipate that's going to affect the markets in 2024?
Right now we kind of seem to be ignoring a lot of what's going on. Whether you look at the war in Ukraine, that really isn't bringing headlines anymore, even though Russia's trying to get the headlines by, escalating their attacks on Ukraine, whether it be Kiev or their ports. And then you also have, of course, with Israel and the Middle East having that issue, but it doesn't seem like the markets are being impacted much by this because it hasn't disrupted flow or production that much at this point. I think it's got potential to do it, but right now the market is being comfortable, not seeing any issues, and we're just kind of being stable because of it.
I would agree with that. The idea is, I wouldn't say we've ignored it. I would say we've gotten comfortable with it. We sort of know now how ag is going to function within the Black Sea region while the war is going on. We've seen the war between Israel and Hamas. It's sort of stayed contained, and as long as it does, okay, we know what that means for us here. So the idea is that while these events are going on, they create turmoil initially. We get used to them. We figure out how to work around them. The question is, do they change? Do they escalate? And if they do, then they could have bigger impacts on the agricultural markets.
Well, it is certainly going to be interesting to see this all unfold. Thank you guys for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Randy Martinson and Chad Hart.
Up next on AgweekTV, the head of the Farm Service Agency visits some Minnesota farmers to talk about what his agency is doing for rural America.
For home delivery of AgWeek, log on to agweek.com or call 800-811-2580.
There's no easy button, no guarantees, or promises of a good year. This is farming. It's unpredictable and demanding, with long days and sometimes stressful nights. It's weathering the storms and coming out successful. Farming isn't for everyone. We thank those who make it their life, because it is for everyone.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Attention farmers, increase your revenue and prevent compaction from squeezing your profits with PTG's Central Tire Inflation System, now offered at OK Tire and Service. All controlled from the tips of your fingers, ensuring increased yield and improved fuel economy by adjusting your tire pressure within minutes. You are ensuring the best performance from your tractor on the field and off the field, compatible with any radial tire. Call the OK Tire team today or visit oktireinc.com to learn more.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems is one of the largest Brock bin dealers in the U.S. Our expert team is dedicated to creating a customized plan for your future success. Expanding your operation has never been easier with our range of Brock solid bins, grain dryers, conveyors, and more. As your trusted partner, we are committed to serving the needs of farmers. Take the first step toward success and call Gateway Building Systems today.
So in 2017, RTD developed a thing called Whip Drain, and it is a drainage and aeration platform for many types of stockpiles. Sand or aggregates, sugar beets or potatoes. We can drain the water away from the product, and we can also force air into the platform and aerate the whole bottom of it. We've designed it so you can operate 988 cat loaders. I think they weigh about 140,000 pounds. Whip Drain is engineered to withstand that type of treatment.
A new group in southeast Minnesota is taking a stand for farmers who feel targeted by government regulations and activist groups. The Driftless Area Ag Alliance is a farmer-led conservation group working to incentivize farmers to use healthy soil and water practices. The Alliance plans to partner with local, state, and federal agencies to create more resources for farmers to incorporate regenerative practices. Alliance President Rita Young says they're going to put in place measurable outcomes to see if their efforts are making a difference.
We live here too. We want it to be a good environment. We want our communities to be safe and have clean water. So, we all have the similar goals, the same goals.
Young says they hope to hold more field demonstrations like this one, introduce farmers to their local conservation contacts. Farm Service Agency Administrator Zach Ducheneaux says the 1980s farm crisis helped shape his career and gave him important perspective on helping farmers in his current job. Ducheneaux spoke recently at the Upper Midwest Farmland Summit at the University of Minnesota. It was hosted by Farmland Access Hub, a group of organizations working together to improve farmland access for emerging farmers. Ducheneaux was a third-generation farmer until 1986, when his father was forced to sell off their cattle. He says it's important for producers to know today's Farm Service Agency is there to help distressed farmers. And he adds the programs are cost-effective to taxpayers and good for rural America.
The benefit that we can offer to producers is a longer term for repayment. So that money can circulate through their balance sheet, through their bank, through their rural community businesses, and actually multiply that impact.
Ducheneaux has led the FSA since February of 2021. Sharing ideas and improving livestock policy, cattle producers and industry leaders met in Watertown, South Dakota this week for the 75th annual Cattlemen's Convention.
Preparing for the upcoming year was the main focus of this year's South Dakota Cattlemen's Convention.
The primary purpose of our annual convention is to develop the policy that our staff and leadership will follow for the next year. We're a very grassroots-based organization, so the members have an opportunity to come here, form the policy during our policy committee meetings on the first day. Then we'll have an overnight to kind of digest that policy that they form before approving it in our annual meeting on the second night.
Some topics discussed include the beef checkoff, eminent domain with the carbon pipeline, and mRNA vaccines.
It just gives producers an opportunity to bring their ideas in, these are issues that they've seen in their part of the country that maybe I haven't seen in western South Dakota.
There was also a trade show where visitors could speak with different companies and organizations like AgSpire.
Our goal is to work with public and private entities that are looking to make positive land use changes, and we put that network together with agricultural producers, starting in the upper Midwest, but now working all the way across the U.S.
You can find more information about the convention and AgSpire in AgWeek magazine or at AgWeek.com. Ahead on AgweekTV, we'll tell you about new equipment that can speed up your spring planting.
Dear Dave, thanks for the early order.
Risk management is not just for the grains. Livestock producers, did you know you too can protect the price for your production? Livestock Risk Protection, or LRP for short, is a great tool to help you protect the price of your calves. Cattle producers can also protect their pasture and hayland from lack of rainfall with Pasture Rangeland Forage, or PRF insurance. This is a very affordable way to help producers in times of below average rainfall. Call the Risk Management Specialist, Martinson Ag Risk Management.
The story of a farm is the story of a family. From generations past to generations to come, families have raised their children and the crops that sustain our country on the same fields. Today, with a better nitrogen, farmers can continue to take care of what matters most, the land they work and the people they do it with.
A farmer's work is never done. You're not just planting a seed or harvesting a crop. You're growing a legacy. When you're up before dawn and out long past dusk, you need a banker who will work with your schedule, not the other way around. At Choice, we do banking differently, giving farmers like you time back to focus on what really matters. Choice Bank top North Dakota Ag Bank for 10 years running and always people first.
Hi, Bill Kelsey here, Geringhoff Territory Manager, covering northern Minnesota and the Dakotas. At Geringhoff, we offer a full line of the best harvest headers and residue management systems on the market.
Contact me today to discuss your farm's needs. From there, I'll connect you with an authorized Geringhoff dealer.
AgWeek Weather is sponsored by Bremer Bank. Connect with a banker today at bremer.com.
With November in our rearview mirror, what kind of weather will December hold? Here's John with our Agro-weather outlook.
Weather pattern, it's full on December, and the weather is certainly showing us the milder side of December, at least across the northern plains. We've had a pretty significant warm spell this past weekend, and I'm forecasting more of that over the next week or two, with temperatures getting up into the 40s and 50s, even up into the northern latitudes of the United States. Meanwhile, across the southern part of the country, it's not Arctic air, but it's a little cooler than average or near average for December, a decidedly wintry pattern as winters go in the deep south. Overall, we're looking at fewer storms around the United States and southern Canada. So what's going on here? This is classic results of El Nino. In the El Nino, go way south of here to the tropics and out across the Pacific. And El Nino versus La Nina. In El Nino, it's just a circulation pattern. There are more thunderstorms here on the eastern side of the tropical Pacific. That has the ability to at times energize the southern jet stream, weaken the northern jet stream, and you'll see this pattern tends to keep the frigid air really locked up further north. Doesn't mean it's going to be this way all winter, but it certainly is this way for now. And it also makes the southern branch of the jet stream a little bit more active, and the northern branch tends to be a little bit weaker. So what we're seeing is fairly mild weather from the Dakotas, Minnesota, all through the Great Plains. Of course, the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains stay below freezing. And this lobe of low pressure here over the northeastern part of the United States into eastern Canada is relatively cold, but it's not frigid. This is just freezing weather in through New England and just cool weather down through the middle Atlantic states. And as we go through the mid part of the week, here comes some of those 40s and 50s, getting up as far north as North Dakota and parts of southern Saskatchewan. As we go through the week, the pattern will flip around. The main ridge will shift a little bit east and weaken a bit. And as it does so, we'll see slightly cooler weather drop into the north. There will be some periods of warm weather across the south, but overall, there will be some opportunities for some fairly cool weather, particularly as we head into the second week of this forecast, which is getting on into mid-December. The troughiness increases here, the jet streams dip a little further south, and you get some relatively cool weather dropping into much of the southern states, but we don't really see terribly cold weather dropping into the northern United States. Frigid weather, sub-zero temps will happen across southern Canada and central Canada because it's dark and it's just wintertime, but I don't see that penetrating that far to the south. So in general, this week, it's going to be relatively dry in the northern plains, maybe some little light snows here and there, quite dry here across the southern states, a little bit of a stormy weather in the northeast, and the second week really looks very quiet, with only the Pacific Northwest and Rockies getting much precip.
Integrity, excellence, teamwork. At Titan Machinery, we take care of our team. Whether you are an experienced technician or looking to start your career, Titan has a spot for you. Earn a competitive pay with the potential to make in excess of 6 figures. Service techs, come grow with a company that invests in you. Titan Machinery offers company HSA and 401k contributions, free single healthcare, and a generous tool allowance. Plus, we'll provide all of your uniform and safety gear. Apply today at titanmachinery.com/careers.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Bremer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation so you can be sure you're present and your future are in good hands.
There's no easy button, no guarantees, or promises of a good year. This is farming. It's unpredictable and demanding, with long days and sometimes stressful nights. It's weathering the storms and coming out successful. Farming isn't for everyone. We thank those who make it their life, because it is for everyone.
It was October 1st, 2009. We needed some machinery for the farm. We decided to see if we could become a dealer, and that's kind of grown into what it's been today.
We offer basically anything short line. Seed tenders, fertilizer spreaders, sprayers. We can really set ourselves apart by the knowledge we have in those things, by the amount of units we have on hand at all times.
I just have a passion for helping people, getting to know people. It just becomes a lot of fun.
Although harvest has just wrapped up for some, it's never too early to start thinking about planting season. I visited with Intelligent Ag in Fargo, North Dakota to see how their Recon Blockage Plus technology can simplify a farmer's planting season.
It should simplify the operation for the grower, for the operator in the cab, by not only assuring them that they have product going in the ground, but also notifying them when there's blockages.
Dan Gustafson is a product manager for Intelligent Ag. He says there is no air seeder blockage technology on the market like Recon Blockage Plus. Whereas other air seeder blockage systems look for a blockage, Recon Blockage Plus listens for a blockage.
The differentiator for this product is that it's acoustic based. And so most of the other ones are optical, so they're looking for product, where this one is sound based. And so it works like a stethoscope.
Recon Blockage Plus allows farmers to get their fields planted and tended to in record time. It also brings them peace of mind.
You don't have to stop every so often and dig back in the soil to see that there's actually seed or fertilizer going in the ground. You can just continue along because you know and you're confident that product is going in the ground.
Anything you can pretty much put through an air drill, we will detect from small grain, soybeans, canola. We haven't found a product yet that we haven't been able to work with.
Taylor Glazzo is a product manager for Intelligent Ag. After seeing firsthand how well Recon Blockage Plus works, his father incorporated it into his operation.
He wasn't super excited to put an iPad in the cab. He's 7 years old, so a little bit older generation farmer, and is not tech savvy, and was a little worried about it. But once we got him in front of it and got him acclimated with it, it was a very easy transition. And with that, he feels very confident with it on his drill now.
Intelligent Ag is dedicated to its customers and promises to be there every step of the way, even after purchasing their products.
So try to put the farmers first, I think, is our main objective, and I think we do it very well.
For more information on the Recon Blockage Plus, please visit the website or call the number on your screen. Up next on AgweekTV, internationally known cattle expert Temple Grandin draws a crowd in Crookston.
When it comes to grain storage and handling solutions, one call does it all. Gateway Building Systems is one of the largest Brock bin dealers in the U.S. Our expert team is dedicated to creating a customized plan for your future success. Expanding your operation has never been easier with our range of Brock solid bins, grain dryers, conveyors, and more. As your trusted partner, we are committed to serving the needs of farmers. Take the first step toward success and call Gateway Building Systems today.
Getting down to business on the farm means hitting the office early, making sure your team's ready to go, getting updates from the field, and talking with your management team. At Bremer Bank, we understand the business of farming and how to protect and grow your operation. so you can be sure your present and your future are in good hands.
So in 2017, RTD developed a thing called Whip Drain, and it is a drainage and aeration platform for many types of stockpiles. Sand or aggregates, sugar beets or potatoes. We can drain the water away from the product, and we can also force air into the platform and aerate the whole bottom of it. We've designed it so you can operate 988 cat loaders. I think they weigh about 140,000 pounds. Whip Drain is engineered to withstand that type of treatment.
Grain handling and storage projects done efficient, reliable, and hassle-free with the one-stop shop of advanced grain handling systems. Get better test weights and less crop damage with their continuous mixed-flow grain dryers from Grain Handler and Nico. Get grain bins built to last from West Steel and Sioux Steel. Advanced Grain customizes each project to maximize your farm production. Contact Advanced Grain Handling Systems in Mayville for a free quote and site consultation.
Hi, Bill Kelsey here, Geringhoff Territory Manager, covering northern Minnesota and the Dakotas. At Geringhoff, we offer a full line of the best harvest headers and residue management systems on the market.
Contact me today to discuss your farm's needs. From there, I'll connect you with an authorized Geringhoff dealer.
Cattle handling expert Temple Grandin drew a big crowd of fans recently at the University of Minnesota Crookston. Grandin, who is autistic, came to national attention in the 1970s for her work with humane cattle handling. She is an international speaker, college professor, and has written several books. Grandin says her autism helps her better understand animals, as she is a visual thinker like they are. And she says incorporating those techniques has greatly improved cattle handling in the last 20 years.
Well, it used to be yelling and screaming, and you put an electric prod on every single animal. You know, electric prod used to be 500% because you did it on every animal. The same thing with the meat plants. They used to be just terrible. And that's the part of the industry that's probably got some of the best handling because it's so inspected now by McDonald's and Costco and other companies that buy meat.
Grandin spoke to students in animal science and equine classes at UMC and did a book signing. Her new book is about solving problems with visual thinking. Bull sale season is right around the corner, and this year AgWeek is showcasing the genetics the region has to offer and much more in our AgWeek Bull Sale Guide. The guide features beef cattle health and nutrition information, along with ag industry news and education. The AgWeek Bull Sale Guide will be distributed to more than 50,000 beef producers across 7 states, making it a premier advertising opportunity to grow your ag business. The AgWeek Bull Sale Guide will get your business in front of a targeted audience in the months to come. To book your ad by December 13th to be included in this January publication. Stories you'll only see on AgWeek.com and in AgWeek magazine this week. Experts offer some advice on how to navigate the difficult tasks of farmland access, tenure, and transfer. And soybean processing staff in Minnesota soon will have a training program available. We appreciate you watching AgweekTV. Remember to check us out daily on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok to keep up on all your ag news. Have a wonderful week, everyone.